Okay, so let me go back to what had been 4 days of losses. We had some traders and experts right here on the show last week saying, you know what, give the president's tariff threat just a few days. This may shake out to be part of a plan that the president is cooking up. Well, we got an indication just a few hours ago from the president himself during this meeting that he may very well be using the tariffs on steel and aluminum imports as a stick of sorts that might help badger Canada and Mexico to rewrite the North American Free Trade Agreement. Listen.
Do make a deal which is fair to the workers and to the American people. That would be, I would imagine, one of the points that we'll negotiate. It will be tariffs on steel for Canada and for Mexico.
Meaning make NAFTA fairer and America will drop the tariff threat. But forget Canada and Mexico. The U.S. beer industry is drowning its sorrows, not by crying in its beer, but by howling in protest. Joining us now in his first TV interview since President Trump's NAFTA comments this morning, Jim McGreevy, President and CEO of the Beer Institute. Jim, welcome. Thank you. What is your biggest complaint about the threat to tack on big tariffs on imported aluminum and steel?
Well, our biggest complaint really is that tariffs are taxes. For the beer industry, potentially $347 million a year in taxes. And we're very concerned that tariffs or taxes on aluminum will lead to higher prices for America's brewers and beer importers. And that's making us take note of this.
No doubt you saw the Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross. He was holding up a soup can during the interview with Stuart Varney on Friday. He also held up a beer can in other interviews saying, oh, you know what, it's a cent. Can you give me your numbers of what type of tariff would add on more than a cent? Is it a cent? And have Americans who drink beer, who are watching right now, just to understand what they're talking about.
Sure. There's a lot of things that go into the cost of beer. I think it's hard for the Secretary or even for us at this moment, without this formally being implemented, to know what the cost of beer will be. I can tell you, though, this is a $347 million tax on America's brewers. Okay,
now let's get to the human toll. You talk about loss of jobs. The president, on the other hand, says we're going to gain jobs in the steel and aluminum industry.
I saw a report earlier today, Liz, that upwards of 140,000 jobs could be lost in this country. We think the estimate for beer is about 20,000. That's brewers, brewery workers, waitresses, bartenders, truck drivers. These are people that rely on a vibrant beer industry for their livelihoods. And we're very concerned that this $347 million tax on what is the largest and most expensive input in the production of beer will have grave effects. It also affects farmers. 6.8 billion pounds of barley was grown in this country last year, 1 million of which was exported. 106 million pounds of hops. These are important sectors to the economy in parts of the country that could be affected by these tariffs.
Well, yeah, hops are the flour, I suppose, that for flavoring and a stability agent in beer. We're up nearly 400 points, though, because the president says, yeah, I don't really foresee a trade war. But let's just say he is a man of his word and believes that we need to protect the aluminum and steel industry. You know, Friday, we had the CEO of an aluminum supplier who absolutely loves this. He had his own numbers. I want you to listen, and then we'll get your reaction to this.
Sure.
At the end of the year, after consumption of gallons of beer, it's only a few cents that the customers will eventually pay.
This is nothing. It's a penny or two. I mean, you know, a few cents.
I don't think there's even any consensus within the steel and aluminum industries at this point. I thought I heard the CEO of Novelis on another network earlier today talking about being opposed to the president's plan. I think what needs to happen here is business, labor, industry, policymakers need to get around a table. Everyone appreciates what the president is trying to do in terms of identifying a solution and identifying a problem and finding solutions.
Jim, have you called the White House to ask and see if you can get in there to talk as our markets jump nearly 400 points? And it's a mixed picture for beer makers from Constellation to Anheuser-Busch to Craft Brew Alliance, et cetera.
Well, certainly The Commerce Department knows where the American beer industry is on this. They know where the American soft drink industry, the American can industry, automakers, and others are. We really hope in the next few days that the administration will take a different course on this after hearing from all of our various sectors.
I'd love for you to come back, Jim, and keep us posted on this. Thank you.